All right, you ready? Quick review of what we did today. It started out kind of sluggish, but when I came in this morning, what I expected to see was bullish consolidation, which also means chop, right? But bullish consolidation means you got to be very, very weary and nimble if you're thinking about playing any of the fades, right? So let's show you what happened. And again, it was kind of boring, choppy session to start, right? But we came in. A couple of the ideas was to fade the Qs and fade the Microsoft and fade the Meta, right? So here's the Qs. It really wasn't an amazing trade, but there was your reason to short. The first VWAP break of the morning, we were short. We got paid a little bit, and then we got out. And then the market session started. It was the same exact trade. The VWAP break, you're short in 83.75, and we got down to 81.50. Wound up getting stopped out on the way back. Then it got back to that same price again. We shorted the Qs again at the VWAP break. And here I added to it because it looked like we were going to go down some more. We did, but then it came right back, otherwise known as the fake out shakeout. So I was forced to cover and then got out of the whole thing pretty much flat. But then we said, hey, if that's a fake out shakeout, let's buy the breakout. Next thing you know, went from shorting the Qs twice to buying the Qs here. And that was an extraordinary trade. And here, looking at at 10 o'clock in the morning, instead of buying $483 stock, you bought the 483 calls, right? So you see how the reason you want to trade at the money options is they trade like a stock. So there it is, faux show bro. You're buying the contracts at $2.35. They got back to the high of the day. That's already 325 sold to you, right? Then you raised your stop to, let's say, the pivot and the 250. So if, let's say, you got your 10 contracts, you sold 3 here, you put a stop of 3 more there and 4 more there. So there you go. Sold 3, you got 7 left. Next thing you know, ripping. You got the $4. Sold 3 more contracts, raised the stop now to where you sold, right? Next thing you know, $4, $4.50. We're looking for $5. We don't get it, and it starts to tank, and we dump it all at $4 on the way back down. Not a bad trade. Meta. This was one of the fades that did work. Well, let me just show you the Microsoft because it was a pain in the ass. Not a great trade, but we managed to escape alive, which is good. And again, let me show you what's happening right now. So here's Microsoft. Again, gapped up stocks on earnings. I'm looking to play a fade. First move was up, and then it broke VWAP, missed it. Then it broke here. I'm a shorter, and that price was $433, and it got down to the pivot point from earlier. 433, we're covering at 330. And then here we're thinking 27.50, and then it starts to go back up. And this is why it wasn't such a great trade. Here I'm thinking we're getting to get paid some more because I was expecting it to go down to this candle. And then it reversed again, and I had to cover basically at 430. So it wasn't a bad trade. It was a day maker. And then later on, just now, that same trade re-evolved, and there's the same trade, 432 to the 428 this time. Took the money, and not a bad trade. Here's the Meta. This one's a little bit cleaner. VWAP break at the open, short it, immediately got paid, starts to sell off some more, took some profit here, got stopped out when it broke back above that price. Haven't looked at it since. And of course, the hood trade, which I was doing live, if you guys were watching me on YouTube earlier. Missed the first short, 1 minute multi-day VWAP reversal. The trade hasn't failed in over 3 years. I wasn't even on that one. But consolidation at higher level, I'm buying in this consolidation using the low of the day as my outs. We had a 1 minute multi-day. I'm going to show it to you even better. It was a 1 minute multi-day VWAP collision. So prior day VWAP and today's VWAP colliding, you got to be a buyer there if you weren't a buyer here yet. And the target was where we broke down from. Top ticked it over here live with our in the room at 49.30, and then got stopped out just before at 48.50 on the last 20%. So great trade. And here's some of the crazy ones. We had Z-Car, just insane. I mean, this is a $3 stock a couple days ago, reverse splitting. Fake out, shake out is the one we participated in. Fake out, shake out. It'll break. And then this is a $8 stock, wound up going to 18 bucks. Just absurd. Not many of us who are trading the stocks. You don't even have to mention it if you're putting this together, email. And then this kid stock was interesting because this one we did trade because it held the VWAP. And you got the fake out, shake out. And then we bought the stock at $2.35. It wound up going to $2.75. Sold most of it there. Got to the 3. And on the pullback, we wound up selling it here, which was a bad sell. But again, 30% gain on a stock, not bad. And that was pretty much the whole day. Microsoft, Meta, Hood. Oh, and then there was Eli Lilly, which was insane because it was a long trade right here. Same consolidation under the VWAP, VWAP break. Some of us got long, $835 with a 5-point risk. Stock wound up going about 10 points. But in this case, look what happens. If you didn't sell it when it broke back below the VWAP, it dropped 40 points. That's why we put our stops at the VWAP. Once we get over it, we take profit and they roll over. So that was our trades, and that's our day. And now we're ready to just prepare for tonight in the schmooze and tomorrow. So I hope we continue to have this action. And I'm hoping the market sells off just to get some more volatility here. And we got Apple and Amazon tonight. And I still think we're just going to keep going higher. But, anything above 470, 630, I'm bullish the Qs still. But I sold into this move today. I got no problem cashing out into these big numbers tonight. All right. I'll see you guys in the room.